Path of Exile 2 announcements at Exilecon.
When was Path of Exile released?
2013.
10 years in the making.
Yes.
Nice. I hope it's.
You know, I did a lunar stream in 2015 on it, and that was already a few into it. So yeah.
And it still holds up pretty strongly too.
October 23rd, 2013. God damn, I'm good!
Oh, it's hit the 10-year mark today, or this year, I mean.
All right.
Pretty good.
Dude,
that's a good time to release Path of Exile 2. On a decade anniversary.
It's not coming out. No, it's not. The closest to anything is a closed beta next year on June 7th.
It's more the announcement.
The announcement, and okay, so we'll start over to the first. We're gonna go over the nice little teaser trailer to go over some basic stuff that's gonna be shared. Then there's a gameplay that was released. Them kind of going over it, and we'll go through that entire thing. And let me tell you, lot of good stuff. All right, so
the gods caused all this, you know. After Oriath was destroyed, I traveled, searching for answers. Everywhere I went, the same divine devastation. It must end. I will end it. And no exile will stop me.
Wow. I will say her voice acting is pretty good.
Yeah.
There's actually a cinematic?
Dude, I gotta say, like, I like the graphics. It doesn't look over.
Hey, whoa, calm down,
Keep going.
Like in Path of Exile 1, there's like no cinematic, isn't there?
This reminds me a lot of Diablo 3.
Hang on, wait. We just went over 6 classes. This is 7.
What? What?
This is Warrior. Now there's a Huntress.
That's new.
Sorceress.
That's new.
Mercenary.
What?
That's new.
Monk.
Oh my god.
Druid.
Oh, dude, the Druid.
When I saw the Druid when he started ran, I was like,
is that Scarecrow?
I feel like that's better than the Diablo.
Dude, yes. I would rather play Path of Exile now.
Yeah.
Like. Oh.
That's cool. They had a cinematic.
What did you just see there?
A cinematic.
Not just a cinematic. What did you see right there?
Him attack right after.
His attack.
Like he immediately went.
Hang on, wait, watch.
He rolled. Did he?
He rolled.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
All characters have a roll now.
Just like Diablo, right?
No cooldown.
Whoa.
No cooldown? That allows for way better fights.
Dude, you can actually dodge stuff now. Whoa, that thing's... The boss fights look so much better.
Look around the arena, they're all moving.
The boss fights look so much better.
I will say with the monk, we'll see a lot of the monk, and he's using a staff. And when I have to say that when we see it, I'm just like it seems very fluid, which is amazing for a staff.
When I think of monk, I think of Diablo.
When a staff looks fluid, it's so nice. I love the look of the boss.
You gotta go up to his nest.
Great. Now I'm gonna have to fight a mutated bird because I don't have a freaking bird.
Okay. In its own nest.
Yeah, in his own home.
It looks like they didn't even take some of the monsters out, so they just kind of reused it, which is really cool.
Okay, 100 distinct environments,
Whoa.
600 monsters, 100 bosses,
Oh,
Yeah, that's so cool.
1,500 passive skills.
okay, that's too much.
Nah, it won't be. You'll see.
It's just the amount of
36 ascendancy classes.
Okay.
36.
Okay.
Okay,
My
when you divide it down, so now there's gonna be 12 classes. Each one's gonna have 3 ascendancy classes.
Yeah. That's
That's
crazy.
actually still a lot.
Wasn't it the previous you only get one?
No, you get to pick between a couple, 2, 3. It's been a while.
I don't think I've got that far.
240 active skills.
Not in passive skills, just active.
That's skills you actually press the button.
Oh, my God.
This is
So-
even more.
That's 20 for each character.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot.
But you have to understand is that in Path of Exile, you just start out in a place. If you want to make a sorceress that can beat the shit out of people with a sword and shield, you can. Might not be the best, but you can do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you start in a place, but in Path of Exile, you create the character however you want. You can go from one side of the skill tree all the way to the opposite side if you wanted to. Your character, you do it. There's no limitation. If they have the required stat points to be able to use certain skills, yada yada yada, you can use it.
That's amazing. That's what I want to hear.
700 equipment types. Jesus Christ. This
Six. What?
6-person co-op.
Oh,
Yo.
I'm gonna need 5 people to come with me because, yeah, I'm probably gonna get lost in this.
probably gonna need all 6 too.
For sure, I'll play.
Now, I want you to keep this in mind: 6-person co-op. Now, if we're talking about other ARPGs when we start talking about this, I don't think it fits for many reasons.
Oh yeah.
Maybe because you don't feel like they're there. I'm gonna say why this will be different in this one.
This world will be reborn, no matter the cost.
That was a really cool gameplay trailer.
Oh yeah.
It was a mini gameplay trailer.
I have.
It
I
actually
have
showed
never-
gameplay.
Yeah, I've never been one to really play Path of Exile, but I really want to play the second one. That looks so cool.
It actually shows gameplay, unlike other trailers where it's just cinematic.
Yeah, Bob, I saw the Nicki Minaj and Snoop Dogg stuff on Call of Duty, and I just don't want to.
What?
It's COD.
Snoop
I
Dogg's always.
don't really know too many people that do. Just like whatever. It's COD.
Yeah.
They're doing stupid stuff. Shocker. Oh wow, they're putting in pay-to-win bundles for DMZ. Woo, shocker. All the other bullshit. Now,
Lieutenant.
so that was a teaser, basically trailer. Let's see actual gameplay. How about that?
Oh, it
Yeah,
seems to be all right.
I would love that. I hope it's not hyped up.
No, it's called the teaser video for a reason, Go.
Yeah, because I want to play it now.
No, it's just to get your expectations high to tease you.
Yeah.
That's what Diablo did.
Yeah. Then you bite
Okay,
into it.
no, like I said, I messed around with Diablo. It's not like it's bad on how it plays and stuff. It's just that, like, no, if you're a casual and you're going to play for a little bit, you'll probably be fine. It's probably the game's probably like an 8 out of 10.
affect you.
The problem is that when you keep going up, at a certain point, if you keep playing, you're going to start having the issues that you never noticed before. But the problem is like before even the season came out, I think there was a chunk of people that didn't even finish the campaign yet. So
then they had to restart it.
it's a very casual. Yeah, I'm not. Nothing, whatever. Now, this here is official gameplay.
Wait, how?
We'll go.
Beta,
Like,
alpha, whatever.
How
This is
close
from
is-
the developers themselves. This
Okay.
is
Oh,
the
so they're
game.
from the engine itself. Okay.
let's
is
say,
from-
how
yeah,
close
this
is
is
it
from-
being done then? If
This
there's
is
beta
from-
testers already.
There's not beta testers.
Yeah, I know.
No, this is just their gameplay of what they have of the game so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is at Exilecon. Exilecon's a big thing like BlizzCon. It's called Exilecon.
Makes sense.
Just to help promote their games and company and so on. Nice.
Exile 2. We'd like to start off by showing some of the gameplay of Act 3, one of the 6 acts in PoE 2's campaign. We're starting here in the jungle depths. Act 3 is set in the ruins of the Vile civilization, which fell thousands of years ago. Jungle has taken over their former once great cities, and we'll be exploring it using one of our 6 new character classes, called the Monk. In PoE...
First thing I noticed is that there's
That
gold.
was fluid.
There's actually, they have gold as a currency in the game.
Huh.
In Path of Exile, there's no currency like that. It's literally just every material has a use and you can trade it.
I like that.
The overall thing is called Chaos Orbs, is what basically people use as gold. It's
Right.
basically the main currency. And then there's like, orbs up and down, so on and so forth. But that's like the basic thing. So everything's dealt in chaos. So I think the reason why they're going to gold now instead is probably you can
Merchants.
merchants, and also I think it just makes it easier. Like, yes, having the different types of stuff you can use on your weapons to gear to do more links and so on and so forth, yada yada yada. Well, those things are good, but to use it as currency was nice at one time, but eventually everybody settled on one thing, what's the difference between just having a chaos orb and gold? Like, there's no, you don't use, most of the time you're not gonna use the chaos orbs because you use it from a currency, so it didn't really change much. Now there's just gold. And actually, so we'll see how that goes about trading and things.
PoE 1, we had one character class for each of the combinations of strength, dexterity, and intelligence. When looking at the design of PoE 2, though, we realized that many of the new skills that we were trying to design just didn't really fit thematically with the existing classes that we have. Being a spellcaster with a bear form makes sense for Strength Int, but it doesn't really sound like something that a Templar would do. We realized that since we had new mechanics for every attribute combination, it actually made sense to design new character classes to explore the new themes. In PoE 2, every attribute combination has 2 classes associated with it. Strength Int has the Templar or the Druid. On Dexterity, you have the Ranger or the more spare-focused Huntress. And on Dex Int, you have the Shadow and the Monk, which Mark is playing here. Each
Wait, what?
Okay, so what he's saying is that you notice when you play Path of Exile, you had the Marauder, which is just basically a strength class, right?
Yeah.
Well, now they
three different
basically
classes,
they have 2 classes per each one. So now there's the
Ooh.
Marauder and Warrior is going to be basic strength classes. The Monk and Shadow is going to be Dexterity Intelligence classes. The Witch Sorceress is going to be more of an intelligence stuff. And so on and so forth.
That sounds amazing.
So yeah, having 2 for each of those little specific spots. And if I remember right, they're going to be starting in the exact same spots like that
That's amazing.
on the skill tree.
class has its own 3 ascendancies that let you further specialize the class in the way that only that class has access to. But they both start at the same location in the passive tree. The quest rewards you're offered on the 2 variants are tailored to the class, but of course, this is PoE. You can still mix and match anything to your heart's content.
That's a big monkey.
Just had the whole pillar.
Hey,
Dude, there was no like
When it's a-
waiting or anything. He
oh.
just ran at you and started like swinging.
The silverback blackfish.
like, there's a 15-foot monkey carrying a pillar of a building coming at me and swinging it.
Dude,
What?
That's amazing.
There was no rev up time or anything. It was just monkey.
Where's the dude? Hey, a hell of a dodge roll for this.
Dude,
That's probably why they put the dodge roll in.
that pillar is way bigger than you.
Looks like we've come across the boss for this area. In
Oh,
PoE
it's a
2,
boss?
every area of the campaign contains a boss of at least this difficulty. That's over 100 bosses to fight as you make your way through the campaign, and they all have unique mechanics to learn.
Another key thing that I noticed here is that he's using cold and frozen attacks.
Yeah. Some
In
lightning.
regular in Path of
Lightning.
Exile, those things are pretty weak.
I
As you've seen from watching Mark fighting, the melee combat in PoE 2 has a very different feel than before. We've done a lot of things to add mobility to combat. Practically
looks
every
so
melee skill in
smooth.
PoE 2 has some kind of movement built into it. But the monk in particular is a melee fighter who specializes in mobility over brute strength.
Wait, he dodged that like right in his face.
I think a dodge gives you iframes.
Okay. When it comes to dodging, they'll cover this later on, but as of right now, since you're asking about it, when it comes to dodging, missile attacks miss, and if it's a directed melee strike, it will miss. Now, but of course, AoE attacks always on.
Like an explosion gets you.
Yes.
Did he also say like each level, like to end it, to move on to the next stage, get to defeat a boss?
Like at the end of each act.
But he said at the each.
Like-
Yeah, that's
yeah.
fine,
each
yeah.
almost like each level.
Yeah, each distinct area has their own little boss.
Yeah.
I think that's what he said.
Because they said 100 distinct environments, and they
See-
said there's one for each one, so
So,
there's
like,
100
Path of
different
Ex-
bosses.
In Path 1, like he really could just go through like 2 or 3 of them and not have to fight a big boss.
So yeah, they added
Yes.
more. I like the boss thing. Each one has their own kind of thing. He said so. They have their own patterns and so on. That's really cool.
Now, another
No.
thing I noticed while I was looking at this the first time is I don't know what level he is,
Yeah.
but
I was
also at the same time, I don't see reserved mana or health.
Reserved.
Yeah, I know, Kobe, you don't understand, but yeah, there are certain abilities in Path of Exile where you have to reserve a certain amount of your pool of mana, so you can't use it; it gets locked out for like auras and other constant effects.
Okay.
And I'm not seeing that here. I do see a is it called spell shield? God, it's been so long. On his health, so he basically has a shield of some kind on his health.
Yeah, I see that.
glowy stuff.
Yeah. It seems like a passive.
Is this also? Yes, this monk is a new class. This is a new class.
I gotta say, he looked a little leveled up for this.
Oh, yeah. So, Code, I don't know if you have messed with any Path of Exile, but when it comes to reserve stuff, well, when it comes to skills in general, like all classes can use everything as long as you got the stat points for it. So, which means and every class also has stuff that takes reserves of mana and health. That's what I was talking about. Like it's almost common. Like you're going to use something that takes a reserve of some kind.
So, as Mark has been playing, you might have noticed these blue markers over enemies. Mark has a skill equipped called Killing Palm. Whenever an enemy has a blue indicator over it, it means the monster has low enough life to cull with Killing Palm. Successfully executing the cull will give you a power charge. This is an important skill for the monk, since many of his skills interact with power charges. One of the great things
when I noticed that lightning on the ground, that spark, I was like, wow, that actually
about the skill is that it has a built-in dash forward, which makes it much easier.
And look at that knockback. Like this straightforward, you can you see it get hit, you see the swing of it, you see the cone and the pushback. That I like it being very like I can see what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Not just generalizing.
Easier to target the skill at the right
Like,
point in the
look, it's so easy just to
We've
do.
done a lot of
It's
work
just
in
dust.
PoE 2 to make using skills like this feel satisfying. If you're accidentally targeting slightly off the monster, the skill
Like,
will
that
automatically
actually
lock
works.
on to the cullable target, and will even do a small amount of pathfinding around obstacles. We really want to make sure that when you've got an opportunity to use the skill, nothing is going to get in your way.
I gotta say, it just looks so fluid. It looks like it's just back to back, always going.
This has smart pathfinding for rolling and other stuff.
Oh,
Yet Diablo 4 can't have their horse work right.
Yeah,
The 4K
I
hour
would
grind
actually
just to
pick
be
this
relevant
game.
scared me out of PoE. You don't need to play that much.
This game actually is so cool.
So when it comes to Path of Exile, like people, there's so many people like, well, when you first start out, get a build and watch that and then follow that. No, here's what you need to do. You need to select a character and play the damn game. When you get a new skill, look at your section of the skill tree and just click the next one. It's like, okay, that looks cool. That's all you
Yeah.
got to do.
You just look for you could get bored and look for the next thing that you want to build to and just keep clicking until you get to it.
And you'll just figure out kind of what you want to do with your character. Like you don't have to do min-max bullshit.
You can
When
have an
start
idea
wanting-
of a character.
when you want to start min-maxing is when you start getting to later game. But if you're just going through there, just kind of doing the campaign, which is it's 10 acts, okay, it's a decent amount. There's a lot.
You ain't got to worry about min-max.
Yet I started when there was only 3 and there wasn't really an ending. There was just like that big boss. So yeah, like having like 7 more is crazy. Then there's like a whole bunch of other stuff, but just take it day by day. Just focus on if you just focus on the campaign, just playing your character, you'll be more than fine. You'll be able to finish no matter how you do your character. Just play the game. And most of the time, if you're not more of an ARPG guy, more than likely you're going to finish the campaign. You might do a few things that's after it, more later level, more closer to in-game stuff, and then you probably just get tired of it, move on, and then when next season comes out, you do it again. That's usually the way it goes. Unless you really want to continue playing, or you find a new character, or you want to play a new character, so on and so forth.
Or you think of a build that sounds funny, and then you know how to make it because you just played the game and you understand kind of what the general things that you should do.
Like I've
Playing
played
the game is just
all
the
the
biggest step.
I kept trying to do hardcore, but that's just masochism. See, you got to like 68, got tired and sidetracked with Final Fantasy. Yeah, I mean it happens. It happens. It's an ARPG. It's cool. It's just one of those things. You just go around, kill some stuff, come back. Like when you look at the skill tree, yeah, it is massive and it is intimidating. But when you break it down and go, wait, I start here, and I just need to look from point to point to point, like just like the direction. You don't even look at the rest of it because the rest of it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're not gonna go to the rest of it. Like,
well, you're not anytime soon. You can look at it if you want to, see what kind of cool stuff's out there. But overall, like if you're playing a ranger, it starts out with this gives you more attack speed and this does more projectile damage. Oh, yeah, I'm using bows. Okay, just click. It's what I'm doing. I want to do. Just click the next one. Oh, it does it again. Next one does the exact same thing. Oh, now there's a golden one that anytime I'm using a bow, I do more damage. Yeah, okay, it's easy. Click the next one. It's really, it goes in order. It looks massive, but you just gotta, when you slowly break it down and just play it, it's pretty good. But with this Path of Exile 2 here, though, yeah, they're gonna have another big skill tree, but it's like the same thing. If you just stop, I don't like suggesting you go to somewhere else to find a build to be able to play something when you don't need that. Most people don't. If you want to get hardcore about it, that's completely different. But if you're starting out, just play it. Pretty straightforward. If you're finding you're getting killed by things that keep freezing you, well, find something that gives you cold resistance. A lot of times you can find vendors that sell you rings that give you cold resistance and things, or fire resistance, so on and so forth. Very straightforward.
A game cannot be that good if it can't teach a new player how to play it.
Well, I think, okay, on that note, it does have a hard time doing that, because if someone says, check out the skill tree, and once you press P, you're like, oh, fuck. It's system shock at that point.
You're just like,
and for a casual, or especially more and more casual, you basically get broken down at that point.
You're just like, I don't know if I can handle this.
What I I need to put this in there as a suggestion. Like there should be like questions. Are you a casual veteran or so on and so forth of ARPGs when you start out? And then what it should do, instead of showing you the entire skill tree, it should literally just scope in and block it off to where
that's what I was just thinking about.
Just block it off to where you can only see this, because you can't go outside of this area for a long time anyways, because you have to take. So why expand it out when you can just break it down to keep them in this little niche?
it helps. It just helps them keep their focus on this. Like, okay, I'm not even going to be able to do any of those, but I bet you if I start this class, I'll be able to start there. Like, it just immediately,
exactly.
it just helps. It gives you comfort
Because-
knowing that you're okay. Like, you're not overwhelmed by anything. You know where you're going.
Well, especially when you look at the classes, like the Ranger is bow and arrow. It's straightforward. A lot of her stuff starting out is bow and arrow stuff. You know, and if you just lock it into that, that's what they're expecting. You have to like break it down. If I get the witch, which is a sort, you know, a spellcaster, it's it's gonna be spell stuff. So as long as you lock it down, and that's all they see, because that's what they expect when they see the class. They're not expecting to do some crazy other stuff along with it. That's just what they want. A marauder, he looks like a beast. He's gonna pick up a tree and beat somebody with it. Okay, straightforward, just strength, beat
Dude,
stuff.
him and that monkey are just gonna have a whale off, bro. Drops the pillar, drops the tree, and just go and throw your dukes at him. That's what they would do.
Exactly. And then we look at the in-between ones, you're just like, okay, yeah, blah, 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 blah.
So yeah, they would just. I hope they do something like that. Like, they still have a lot of time because it's not released. So I hope they do something like that to actually just help the new players.
That'd be the key. That'd be key. I think they'll probably do something. They're pretty smart.
All this looks amazing.
Once you have some
though.
power charges, you need some skills to power up. A great follow-up is Falling Thunder. Falling Thunder without a power charge just creates a relatively small lightning AoE in front of you. But do it with some power charges, and it turns into a pack clearer with a
I like the animations of the staff, though. Like, as he attacks. It looks so
feels
smooth.
coming.
large number of extra
It
projectiles.
doesn't feel like it's just like coming out.
One thing you'll
Look at it's like swinging with a bat. I can do that.
notice here is that, like almost every melee skill in PoE 2, Falling Thunder has a bit of extra movement built in, just in case you need it. Using the skill within range, and you'll do a flip in place. But use it at a larger range, and your character will move forward while executing it, getting you into position without any time penalty.
That's cool.
In PoE 2, you also get a short period to redirect your target. Notice how you can start the skill facing one way, then whip the mouse sideways to land the skill in a different direction? In order to get power charges, you're going to first need to get some lower life monsters into a cullable range. You've got a few options. If you want to charge right in, Whirling Assault is a good option. It doesn't do much damage per hit, but it covers a lot of ground. And notice how you can turn as you do it? Generally speaking, you never lose control of your character in PoE 2. If you make a turn at the right time, you can get a couple of extra hits in on the monsters, getting them into range of your cull. Follow up with a Killing Palm, then finish off the rest of the pack with your Falling Thunder.
You never lose control of your character.
That's so huge. When you lose control, it feels like you're getting disconnected.
Right?
Like, you're just kind of watching it happen more than actually, you're making it happen.
So, between this and then every character having a role as well, the mobility is insane.
That I love. Which, honestly, having high mobility like lets you play a lot more with the bosses. You can get a lot more like actions in there and different things. You're not so limited because everyone can dodge it. Everyone can move. So they're going to be able to throw so much at you until you figure out how to dodge it. Because you're able to.
Especially with no cooldown. It's just the animation cooldown, basically. That's all you got.
That's no cooldown.
So
you're solid. So, like, yeah, they just they're free flowing on that. They don't have to hold back. Which is so huge.
Another key thing is, like, this is outside, but it's pretty decently detailed for this thing.
Yeah.
We've now entered the Val Mechanarium. This is the place where the
Nice
Val built the
waypoint.
various constructs they relied on to power their civilization.
Pay attention to this next part.
Now,
That's a cool portal.
this is a find! A Val ruin that hasn't been looted? I wonder why nobody's been in here before.
One useful feature that we've added is the ability to call in NPCs to where you are, to give you more information, help you with quest objectives, and so that you don't have to always go back to town. In this case, we'll call in Alva to find out what to do.
What?
Why go to town when you can bring the NPC to you?
That's so nice. So if you don't know what you're doing, just like, all right, here, help me. And they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is the quest you need to do, and this is kind of what you got. And it's like, thank God, bro. Because if you forget, that's a portal.
So yeah, you don't have to leave this part. The NPC comes to you, gives you information, and can help you in quests.
Oh, so cool.
And Alva's here, which means, I know Alva. Treasure hunting, yes. I always like this. She does lately as pyramid. Oh yeah, that's good.
This mechanism, if powered with a small soul core, it could open that door. There should definitely be soul cores somewhere around here. They had to power these constructs somehow.
As Alpha said, we need to find a soul core to open this door. Let's explore. If you want to shave off some life without getting too close to some of the more dangerous monsters, a good option is
You can
Wind
just walk
Blast.
and dodge it.
Wind Blast also doesn't do too much damage, but it keeps the enemies back. The closer they are, the farther they're pushed back. So it's
Look
a
at
great...
do you see that? Do you see that dust on the ground though as it kicks up?
Oh yeah. Wait.
Watch.
Too much damage, but it keeps the enemies back. The closer they are, the farther they're pushed back. So it's a great option for keeping smaller but high damage enemies.
Look at that. That looks like a pretty intense pack. I mean, it may not have, but it gives the effect and look and feel like you're doing
Feels like
something.
you just did some damage.
Even though you're not.
Note
but
that the bigger the
looks
enemy
like it.
is, the less they'll be pushed back. So trying to push back some giants isn't going to be effective. And there's the soul core.
Hey,
Let's
found
get
soul
back to the
core.
door.
I like the lightning.
Dude, it looks so cool. Like, it makes the path with the bolts as well. Like, it's not random path. Oh, no, it is random.
And also, you don't have to click on the gold to pick it up. That's great.
Oh,
Consider me impressed. I'll keep investigating in here. Bring me in if you find anything else.
If you need to defeat tougher enemies, it might be time to break out some of the ice skills in the monk's arsenal. Glacial Cascade creates a wave of ice that moves slowly in front of the player. It's pretty ineffective against fast-moving monsters because most of the damage occurs right at the end of the wave, and so a lot of monsters will just walk right by it. But if you can find a way to make a monster stop at just the right place, it can be very effective. In order to do that, you probably want to freeze monsters. The monk has a few different tools to do this.
Also,
Fairly simple
notice
option is
that
to get
red
right in the
line
monster's
right in the middle.
yeah.
Since we've opened the door, there's this nice red path.
It's so
You can see,
subtle.
like, and you can see the symbols on it too. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
face
It's
with
a subtle
Ice Strike.
thing to let you know this is
Ice
the
Strike
right
doesn't
way
do
to
too
go.
much damage on the first 2 hits, but attack 3 times in sequence and you can get off a combo that has a much higher chance to freeze. Get in there with that freeze, then roll back and finish the job with a Glacial Cascade. Now, remember how Glacial Cascade had that extra damaging spike at the end? If you've hit a frozen enemy with that spike, it shatters the ice on the enemy and does a devastating amount of damage.
Combo.
Oh yeah, I just casually mentioned rolling back before. Did I forget to mention that in PoE 2 we added a dodge roll to every character? Just press spacebar at any time to roll. There's no cooldown, no limitations. It even has a bit of built-in pathfinding so you don't get stuck on things. When you dodge roll, you're not invulnerable. If something hits you, you're gonna feel it, but most things will not hit you. That's because while rolling, projectiles and melee strikes will always miss. You'll have to roll out of the way of a slam that has AoE, but anyone swinging a sword or throwing a fireball is going to miss.
So yeah, all
So nice.
missiles and direct melee attacks miss.
Yeah.
on roll.
I like the way he simplified
Yes.
it. It lets you know what will and won't hit.
I was always
By
annoying.
giving great examples as well.
Yes. That's what I find fantastic. It's a small. It seems like it's a small thing, but man, it's gonna create so many good stuff.
It just allows
Now
for
another really
opportunities.
important function of the dodge roll is that it lets you cancel out of almost any skill at any time.
That's really cool. Oh, that's so nice.
So a dodge roll can cancel you out of any skill you're casting at that particular time. So if you think,
Amazing.
oh shit, this is bad, like if you're taking on a boss and you decide to cast it too close, you have that roll to cancel it and get out.
Thank goodness.
This makes it so you don't feel like you're getting stuck doing a long animation when something is about to hit you.
What I just said.
It really changes how skills with longer attack and cast times play, and it makes dodge roll feel like a very reliable way to avoid attacks. So, that's one way to get out of the way of damage, but the monk specializes in mobility, so it makes sense that he would have a few more. Wave of Frost is one of our new attacks with a retreat built right in. You move backwards and throw out a cold attack with a significant freeze. The great thing about this is it puts you at a good distance.
It sounds like they implement a lot of things like Guild War 2 movement in combat. Well, Lost Ark has a role stuff like that too, and it's very similar. It's an ARPG MMO stuff. So similar to Guild Wars 2, but Lost Ark's also done it, which I think it'd be a closer thing. But yeah, you get the idea.
To follow up with Glacial Cascade and do a whole pile of damage. Hey look, another Soul Core.
Another Soul Core. Smacking.
Another skill you
that
can
red
use to
thing
get some
again?
extra
I
freeze is
love
Shattering Palm.
The path
Shattering Palm is another
lit
palm
up.
strike that puts a small ice bomb on your target. Kill or deal enough damage to the target and the bomb will explode, doing some damage and a significant freeze. It's a great option against bosses where the wave of ice might not be enough to get that freeze off, but you really want to get that Glacial Cascade damage bonus.
Here's the thing, though. We've literally watched for 9 minutes of straight just gameplay.
What?
Yeah,
It
we've watched
feels
9
so
minutes.
smooth.
We've watched 9 minutes of straight gameplay.
I could watch more. I honestly could watch so
Yet-
much more.
Yet, why is it that any other thing we get on other games, we can't get any damn gameplay? It's just their stupid ass
Yes,
cinematics.
You can look up so much like gameplay, like day after day, and they will never have anything until like a week before the release. And it's like snippets of just like these big, super over dramatic things, like hyping it up.
No, just what's in
Like,
the store.
150 player lobbies, and it's just like showing some people like fighting, or it's like 2-player co-op, nah, 4-player co-op. And it shows like 4 people kind of running around.
Right. But literally, if you haven't gotten a hint of what you're going to get out of this game, which I think is going to be free to play anyways,
It's gonna be so good if it's free to play. Oh,
if
that's
it's
such a
70,
huge
I'm
change.
probably...
Yeah.
Well,
I would pay for this. This is so cool.
we got bouncing Betties. Oh god.
Face your demise.
It's actually
The final
pretty
skill we're
good,
going to show
too.
you today is Flicker Strike. It's a monk skill now, and another skill that consumes power charges. If you've played PoE 1, you know what to expect. It's a great finisher for tough boss fights, and it looks pretty impressive too.
Face your demise.
That's
Another door. I wonder what could be in there.
So yeah, pretty much a bunch of straightforward stuff.
I swear he looks over leveled. Just not by much.
It's using combo, hold attack.
In order to take down this boss, we're going to need all the tools in the monk's.
That was immediate damage. The boss fight didn't even start yet. It was just the the little animation before, and it still affected him
So literally, he stands up and does a flamethrower out of his mouth, right? In a
before
cone.
it even starts.
Notice that the character is on fire.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah, I think you. I bet you didn't see that. I noticed
No.
that. So yes, yeah. Watch. So the character actually catches on fire.
In order to take down this boss, we're going to need all the.
That's cool.
You see in the top left, I do believe that's a debuff that shows he's on fire, and his character on the screen shows that he's on fire.
So good.
Can you guess what Diablo 4 doesn't do?
Does it
Worth
not
a
even show the
bleep.
buff, like debuffs?
It is so difficult to see when you're frozen. It's on your skills. I don't.
What?
I'm looking at the middle of the screen, but I gotta look at my skills to notice these certain things. The fact that I'm looking at my character like, oh crap, I'm on fire, which means I'm taking fire damage.
Nope, just a little animation because it looks cool.
The tools in the monk's arsenal, especially
no.
the combo of Freeze and Glacial Cascade. If you're a PoE 1 player, you might think that you can't really rely on Freeze because there's so many bosses that are immune to it, but in PoE 2, that's changing significantly. In PoE 1, Freeze is a binary mechanic. An attack freezes the target, or it doesn't. What this basically means is that in PoE 1, we were forced to add freeze immunity to many bosses, because freeze just trivialized them. Because of that, freezing was something you only really used while pack clearing, and not something you could rely on as a core part of your build for boss fight. In PoE 2 though, all crowd control mechanics now have internal meters that allow you to build up to a freeze or stun, or whatever other CC mechanic you might be using. It's a little bit like poise from games like Elden Ring, though the meters tend to be a lot smaller than those games. When you freeze an enemy, it increases the amount of freeze you need.
Look at it, he's like just wrecking the ground. And the boulders and stuff stay there for a little bit. It's like small effects, but it gives them more it gives it more of a feeling of that you're in a fight.
Mm-hmm. The small
another
details give the
but the
huge
increased
effect.
difficulty bleed-
Like the feeling of it is what's important. Look, they linger there for a bit longer too.
Just look at, he's like, regular sword not doing enough. Turn it to fire.
away slowly. More freeze will always let you freeze the boss more often.
Sorry,
But the
axe.
system means it will not get out of
Jesus.
control in party play or interact badly with other
Ow.
CC mechanics, allowing us to let
Way
these kinds of
bigger.
mechanics actually work against all bosses.
I like how it wasn't infinite. You had to reheat it a few more times.
I'm gonna stop right here. Do you? I want you to look at the screen. When it comes to sizes, you can see the boss, you see your character, and you can see a large portion of the field that you are fighting, the battlefield itself, the whole view of this.
So
The
good.
camera is pulled out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go. This is Path of Exile 1. Notice how much bigger the character is.
Big.
Notice how big this. See how much is zoomed in. Like, how much can you see here?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
You
all-
can like look at the map. Like you can see less than what that is. Way less. Way less.
And then
the health bar and stuff. Everything.
Huge. Wow. Wow. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
right. So we have this, and then here's D4, right here.
A little. That's very
See how
similar.
big
to the
that character
first.
is. This is
Very
similar. It's similar to Path of Exile, isn't it?
Yeah. Very zoomed in. All
Very
about the
zoomed
character
in.
itself.
The thing about this is that this is a product of its time.
Yeah.
A decade
Like
ago.
this came out 10 years.
Yet here's D4 in 2023.
Doing the same thing.
My God. It looks no different.
No, just no. Look at this for a second on this screen. This is why I keep shit talking so much on it.
It's cluttered. It feels.
No, the camera zoom. Yeah, when you get on a horse and stuff, the camera zooms back out.
Ugh.
So
really want
clearly,
it,
it's in
man.
there.
Health stuff. I don't even like that.
So
The
yeah,
whole
you look at the
board on
bottom.
there. I don't like
Look at
any of
this.
that.
Look at the skills and so on. So take a look at that UI, and clearly this is console.
Yeah.
So on and so
Still.
forth, right?
Mhm.
It's the same as PC.
Yeah.
Now-
It still sucks.
We look at Path of Exile 2 here.
It's out of the way.
It's on the sides. It's not in the middle, which is fine. Like it's a give and take. Some people might like it in the middle, but it's way more detailed as well.
Yeah, that's what I was just like thinking. Like, look at the far left hand side, the one dude right there, like sitting on, and then the far right hand side is another little dude,
I can
and they
actually
both
see my
have their own
potions.
themes and so on.
Like my potions are there. The other one was just some health bar with a potion bar. I mean,
So
Potion
good.
they made
It
for
looks
fans.
really good. Just the UI itself looks really good overall. Like, look
So-
at everything. The debuffs in the top left has its own little design.
it's not just two circles with red and blue.
See that's right, Gunnar. The ambience of PoE 2 it does draw you into the environment. It gives you a feeling of you there and more impending, which gives you it makes you more invested of what's happening.
I'm
Especially with
invested
the
watching this, man. It's so mesmerized. It looks so smooth.
Whereas like in D4, like I've watched people I don't know how many times get killed from off screen. They can't even see what killed them.
That's just terrible.
And okay, before we go on, there's a reason why I bring this camera thing up because it'll make a difference later on. Now, mind you, how long has this fight been going on?
Good
At
minute.
least 2 minutes.
Yeah, and we're just under halfway.
Oh gosh.
Such a good fight.
Yeah, it's about
He's
a minute
going
and a half.
ham on him. He is. Ooh, he is laying him out too.
Only
If he is like higher level, like
Like he's going. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's just a little leveled up. Just to make it a little possible.
how long would that take?
I notice the music's also starting to ramping up too. Peace is calling. This is from Exilecon. Oh look, cool stuff drops when you kill something cool. Isn't that something?
The flame.
Blackjaw has dropped a consumable quest item, the Flame Core. It's a permanent +10 to spirit.
What?
Oh.
What you think about? Okay, what he just said. That gives a permanent stat bonus for killing something.
So you get rewarded for going and fighting the big guy.
Yes, and I
feels
do believe
good.
this is a side quest.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah,
with
he's
all
in
this
a
stuff.
quest.
So this is a side quest, not main quest, side quest. So
That feels so
they're rewarding
nice.
you for going off the beaten path, going off the campaign and going onto side quests. Where if you do this, it's like, oh, you'll get +10 to your spirit. Now, spirit in this game is what they use for reserving for the auras and things like that. Instead of reserving your mana, you now reserve spirit instead. It's an entirely different thing.
Sick.
Getting +10 spirit means you're going to have more to use for these other, passive abilities. That's what I can put it.
That's really cool.
Side quests
Also,
feel more useful.
side thing, I love the look of the inventory. It looks really cool.
Most of the PoE streamers weren't really happy about the boss fights. But it's a give and take. I mean, they're probably not going to put too much into it because they want you to experience it and not just hammer you.
Yeah.
I have a feeling they can turn it up. I just don't think they did.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't either.
He's using
In
like
PoE
1,
2,
2, or
we
3
really want to make
abilities.
sure that you feel rewarded for exploration. It wouldn't be much good if we made all these awesome optional bosses if we didn't have something great to find for killing them. One of the
That's
things
good. See,
What a
he's aware. He's
concept.
aware. He's aware. That's what's great. They know.
Now, the thing is, I bring this up because in Diablo 4, if you kill Uber Lilith, you get achievement. There's no guarantee.
Wow.
There's like no guarantee you get anything good. It's literally mainly just an achievement. And yes, the Uber Lilith is a very tough boss. She's the final boss, but Uber, so she's like even more than a campaign version.
And you could maybe get something. Maybe.
So yeah, she is very difficult, the most difficult in the game, and you get basically the only guarantee you get is an achievement.
See, that's not fun. I want something
basically-
sick.
And yeah, but she doesn't drop anything. She should,
See,
but she doesn't.
that makes me think of like Moonlord and like Terraria. Like when you kill him, you get Moonlord items. Like you get a straight up portal gun as one of them, or you get a prism beam that just shreds everything and just like uses your magic as just a super powerful thing. It's in game. Like you got rewarded and you have these sick items just to go slaughter things now.
You notice? Look at the bottom right there.
Yeah. Oh, it's a little. Oh, it's not in the middle of the screen.
No, look. So he's holding it over it, and it just pops over to the right, so you can see what it is.
Yeah. You didn't have to go up to it and check it out. He's fighting
you might
right
find that killing
now.
a boss is a permanent stat bonus to your character.
Your end comes. Your fate is sealed.
We took a hit. I don't know what it is, but I like the lightning effect.
Yes.
Knockback. I mean, even the sound sounds like he's beating the crap out of him.
Death becomes.
We're bouncing Betty's. Really wonderful.
I like how they impact the ground too.
He's on the red line.
In order to help us with this next area, we're going to call in a sorceress. Mark's friend Octavian is going to send a friendvite, which we're going to accept. And then they can play together. The sorceress is the new intelligence-focused character in PoE 2. While the witch focuses more on occult magic and summoning, the sorceress is themed around pure elemental destruction. Let's have a look at how she plays.
All the vaunted technology of the Val, and look where it got them.
See, in this next section, we're going to start getting a few extra things. I was just like, okay, I got to type this out, got to type this out, got to type this. What the fuck? It's Alba.
This is the largest soul core I've ever seen. With this, we could
Wait,
power
you
the
can
canal
just drop
systems.
your friend's health bar?
It isn't
You don't have to
charged.
see it.
There is still latent energy in this machinarium from its ancient operation. These lines in the stonework should lead to generators. You might need to find some more soul cores to
Yada, yada, yada.
call them.
Really cool though.
We have
I like
some
the
skills
voice
here that
acting.
you'll probably recognize if you've played PoE 1 before, but they feel a bit different to play now. Spark
Okay.
is great in these tight passages since it bounces around.
Ooh,
We've added a Pierce
Yeah.
support gem to really allow it to
that
hit an
looks
entire
really
room of
nice.
targets. For a more single target focused skill, Arc is a
Way
good choice.
further.
This is the first time I think I've seen what would be considered like Charge Bolt and Diablo and so on and so forth, where I see it like, okay, this actually looks really good. It feels good. Like it actually seems like it's zooming across the ground.
Yeah, it's
It
just
does
like
more damage to the first target you hit.
Pathfinder on its own.
She's also doing straight attacks. You'll pay attention, but she does a straight lightning attack too.
Now,
You
if
see
you
it
find
arc
yourself
out?
surrounded, it might be good to use Ice Nova. It hits all enemies around you and slows them down with chill. Just be careful. Getting up close and personal isn't the ideal place for a sorceress to be. She doesn't have the defenses of a more melee-oriented character. If you want to help with the sorceress's weak melee defense though, you could use Arctic Armor. In PoE 2, Arctic
just
Armor is a
zooming
buff
everywhere.
that builds up as you stand still. You can see the ice crystals forming around the character.
Oh, that's cool.
They'll drop off if you walk.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll drop off if you want.
Well, damn it.
When monsters hit you, they take cold damage and build up to a freeze. So
Dude, I don't know what just happened, but that entire ground just got scorched.
it's a great defense. Just be careful. You have to be standing still for a little while to get the full effect, so trying to stutter step isn't the best strategy. Now, Arctic Armor is an ongoing buff, but did you notice it didn't reserve any mana? How does that
Yes.
work? Well, we were pretty sick of the fact that in PoE 1, basically every character was playing with no mana pool, so we decided to change the way that reservation works. There's a new resource in PoE 2 called Spirit. Spirit is a dedicated resource you can use for ongoing effects like Arctic Armor, Heralds, Auras, or even Minions. Everyone starts with 100 Spirit, which is enough for most ongoing effects. But if you want more than one effect, you're going to need some more Spirit. Spirit is available on mods from items and on the passive tree. But if you're willing to give up your offhand slot, the easiest way to get it is by holding a scepter.
Ooh. See, that's what I mean. So instead of having no pool of mana or so on, or health, depending, they just kept that and changed it to a whole different stat, which I think that is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, they just got rid of the problem.
Yeah,
With a great solution.
More items too.
It didn't cause any more problems either. It's an amazing solution.
Yeah,
What does it
because I
cause
think
some issues because of this. Well, get rid of it.
it's a lot easier to balance too, in a way.
Oh, yeah.
Because since you're using a completely different resource compared to otherwise you're trying to balancing it around mana for a lot of them. Whereas if it takes too much, then they might not be able to really do anything or cast spells. The regen might be too slow, and it slugs it down. If it's too little, then they're just like busting through content that they just should have more of an effect.
Mhm.
But you're all balancing around mana. Whereas this is just literally it's an entirely different stat, which means you can change it up and down entirely on its own to give different characters different feels of what you're actually looking for. So I think it's a more targeted stat. I think it'd be absolutely way more easier to balance.
I think the one thing is how would you see your spirit without having to hover over your mana?
I don't see that either. But then
If
again,
there-
it's just
Yeah, it's still early on. So I hope they
I think
add like a
it's-
little bar around the mana. So like you see like the little kind of ring around it. If they add that
Mhm.
and just like a white meter, just kind of show how much is there, I feel like that would help a lot. Or anything kind of like that.
right. They might not be using any.
No, it said 0. Yeah, no, it did. She may not be using it is what I mean. It's because whenever she hovered over it, it was 0 out of 100. So she may actually just have.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she might have none.
Now, if you want to increase the cold damage you're dealing, you can use a frost bomb. It places a bomb on the ground that reduces the enemy's cold resistance while it's ticking down. It's a great opportunity to use some cold skills before it explodes.
I like the bombs.
And speaking of cold skills, a great skill to use on monsters with the slower cold resistance is Comet. This is a new skill in PoE 2, and it hits pretty damn hard. It costs a lot of mana and has a really long cast time, but it's worth the wait. It does a devastating amount of damage. To help get you out of danger, your character moves back slightly as it casts. It's pretty hard to hit a fast-moving opponent, but it's great on tougher
Seeing a lot of like cold and lightning. I want to see some others.
I haven't really seen
Not to
any
say they aren't
ability
cool. I want to see some other
in any
elements.
game that's really worked like that.
The fires of a volcano won't touch me. Lightning from the gods do nothing to me. If you want to kill me, you're going to have to drop a comet.
That can be a
enemies that stand still, or even a larger pack if you're further away and can predict where they're going to move. Now, if you run out of mana casting too many of those, I guess in an emergency you could cast your free-to-cast Fireball.
Free to cast Fireball? Hold up.
Where did that come from, you ask? Well, this is a great opportunity to explain the way we've changed caster weapons in PoE 2. Now, in PoE 1, caster weapons had a default melee attack that nobody used.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
PoE 1, there was wands that had a basic attack. It was weak. Nobody really used it, 'cause you can just like spam skills and so on and so forth. So it was like literally if you was just trying to cycle something in when you didn't have any mana, but it wasn't happening too often.
Yeah.
They've done in this though.
And because they had that,
Each
they
weapon
also
in
had a
its
bunch
own
of attack
base.
mods that would spawn in them that were useless to a caster. In PoE 2, we want
That's so cool.
It grants level 10 fireball skill for free.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
On staffs. Probably on wands too, would be my guess.
That's great.
Yeah. And that's a whole different element again.
It allows you to
clean that
actually
up.
play like your
So
character.
now each staff comes with a built-in free-to-cast spell. Just put it on and spam to your heart's content. Now this particular staff is the base type that you get right on the starting beach, and it's quite likely that you're
Why?
going to outgrow it. So that's why we have a lot of staves with more utility-focused powers for casters to use. Here we have a crystal staff. It's got a pretty cool built-in spell called Unleash. Using it slams your staff on the ground, and will allow you to triple cast whatever you cast with your next spell. Now, of course, you're
What?
probably going to want to use that with something powerful.
Oh, that's so cool.
Triplet. Well, if one comment was enough of it, 3!
That's so
Okay.
cool.
That's insane.
You'll notice that Unleash is one of the few skills in PoE 2 with a cooldown.
Okay, like it says right there, it's one of the few skills in PoE 2 that has a cooldown, and for a logical reason, because if it allows you to triple the next attack of whatever spell,
Yeah, so
all
common.
it needs is a CD of some kind.
Yeah.
In general, we really try to
It's
avoid
not
using
even a
cooldowns
longer
because we really hate the feeling that combat is just waiting to be able to use your next skill. But it does make sense for Unleash since it's free to cast, and it's something we want you to be using situationally anyway.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Because wait, because they don't want combat to stop because you're waiting on cooldowns. No, wait, didn't some game do something? I think it's called Diablo 4 that nerfed cooldowns by 35%.
Oh,
Hmm,
crazy.
To
that's
balance.
weird. And this team's like, we don't want cooldowns because we want to kill shit.
I want you to feel powerful.
Now, if you're facing something tough,
It's not just powerful, it's just that
What?
most of the time you're waiting for your next skill anyways.
And you can't do anything until then. Like, especially as like a
Uh-huh.
sorcerer or any kind of spellcaster, you have to wait. You either run up there and have to melee them, not happening, you're gonna get killed instantly,
wanna
or you
do
have to
that, right?
wait 3 seconds before you can start your combo again. And then that's another like 5 seconds of just waiting. Like just running around, waiting just to cast. Which is it's ridiculous. It slows down the pace for no reason.
This game, just like other ARPGs, it's about running through and killing big mobs of enemies.
Mhm.
not smacking them with a stick while you wait for your cooldowns to come back up.
I wonder if they still have like the massacre thing.
The
Like,
massacre thing?
One. Like God, I'm not sure if it's that, but you have a kill streak of the monsters.
No, that's Diablo. I
That's
doubt it.
Diablo.
Well, hang on. Yeah, I
thought
think you know.
PoE had a type of one.
Tough, you might want to
I don't even know that they wouldn't really need it because when you kill mobs in this, they usually actually drop something.
Was that
Trout
an
Mana
anti-missile ability?
Mana Tempest creates a circle of power in which your character literally hovers over the ground. While in the circle, your mana drains, but it powers up all of your spells. Lightning projectiles fork, beams chain further, and you'll also do a lot more damage.
Was that anti-missile? Like, go back a little bit, could you? Because like I saw a firewall come at her and lightning redirected. Like it got shot
Creates a
into
circle
there.
of power in which your character literally hovers over the ground. While in the circle, your mana drains, but it powers
Okay,
up
maybe
all
I
of your
was wrong.
spells. Lightning
It looked like
projectiles
the
fork,
fireball
beams
went
chain
into
further,
it,
and you'll also do
and
a
then
lot more
lightning
damage.
went out.
Well, remember, there's a monk there too.
Yeah. Let's go cool.
So with all of these skills, here's a great combo to try. First, cast Frostbomb to reduce the target's cold resistance. Then use Mana Tempest to increase your damage. Follow it with Unleash, and then triple cast the Comet to do a truly insane amount of damage.
It allows for free comboing.
Do a combo to do insane amount of damage. See, there is this game called Diablo 4 that decided they wanted to nerf all armors and damage in the game so that you don't do
So you don't kill them
big
fast,
damage.
and you have to play it longer. Oh my god.
I need more time.
Not to mention, since I'm on that Diablo 4 hate streak, have you noticed how much magic is being used, not just between them, but from mobs too? With all
Yeah,
those
they're
lightning
using their
guys?
own spells. Like there's so many spells happening. It's not like the
Did you
mobs
know-
just run at you and hit you. No, they're casting lightning spells and throwing them at you.
So, what would you think if resistances didn't work right now in this? How well do
You're
you think these
getting-
characters would be doing?
None. Like you're not gonna do well at all. Like especially the monk who's resisting quite a lot. Like he's taking a lot, but like the thing is he's just super fast and got a lot of life steal. So he just like heals it back. But I mean, like if he didn't have the resistance to keep him from like dying, he would be dead so bad. Like he's getting hit by so much. A lot of lightning, a lot of cold.
Huh.
Like the
Don't
ground
worry.
is always cluttered.
Don't worry, Diablo fanboys. It will be fixed next season.
Oh, thank God. What, next year?
This rare monster
I did, yeah, next season.
dropped an uncut gem. This is a good opportunity to talk about how skill gems
Okay, literally, they literally said next before even season 1 was out. They said it'll be season 2.
Wow.
There is a
Wow.
very integral part of your game that does not work. That makes sorceresses
Useless.
wet paper bags. And her only thing is to be glass cannon, and then you nerf all damage.
So no, she's not even glass, bro. She's already broken. She's crumbling.
Okay, enough of that. Okay, so he's talking about uncut gems here. In Path of Exile, you get gems, which is basically your skills. Anytime you pick up a gem, it's a skill of some kind. It might be something that pumps another skill up. It might be an aura of some kind. So it's like your spells and skills in the game.
That's super
It's
cool.
all your it's all your stuff where you press button, it does something. For the most part, not all of it. Some are passive that enhances other ones. But for the most part, that's where all your stuff comes from.
That's super cool.
But usually when it comes to them, they would just drop and it'd be like flicker strike or split arrow, yada yada yada. Now listen to this. This is an uncut gem.
Drop in PoE 2. Instead of dropping specific gems, you can find uncut gems. Just right-click on them and pick whatever skill you want.
Oh,
What?
Right click on an uncut gem
Oh.
and pick the skill that you haven't gotten yet or found.
dude,
So
in
you
PoE,
can-
what? In the
you can
first
create-
one, I have a whole chest full of just gems of other classes.
So you can create your own kind of build if you haven't gotten the thing you wanted yet.
Yeah, it's exactly the whole point of the game is to create your build that you want to play to have fun. Crazy.
Amazing.
The gem will come pre-leveled to the level of the area that dropped it.
It becomes pre-leveled from the area that dropped it, which means you don't have to level it up by itself.
So it's a lot easier to change
Amazing.
between skills in PoE 2.
Yes.
This
oh.
time, I think it might be cool to grab one of our meta gems. Meta gems are skills that can have other skills socketed into them, changing how they work. In this case, we're going to select Cast on Shock. Now, let's equip this.
Whoa!
Yeah, here's your skill gems, which is in a separate tab. So it's no longer on items; it's a separate deal.
Look at that.
And you see how they have the little the things beside the links, or what
Yeah, the little
we'll call it links. Sockets. There you
Yeah.
go. Straightforward. Look, it's just like, hey, this. So you have your main skill, which is the one on the left, and these other socket things are ones that enhance that skill in some way.
And look, they're colored too. So there's the
Oh.
green and the blues.
So you don't even need the weapon links or anything now. Like,
Yeah, no,
the
no
whole
level
weapon
links.
side is just literally just gear.
There you go.
It
That's
simplifies
amazing.
it. It separates it and simplifies it. That's
Yeah.
This thing
amazing.
in the skill screen and choose a spell to trigger with it.
So this says cast on shock.
I think Comet might be fun.
Okay, we're going to do a comment with the cast on shock. Okay.
Cast on
Because
shock.
Cast on Shock reserves Spirit, we'll need to first disable our Arctic armor. We have to decide if we'd rather have the extra defense or the extra offense of
Wait a
the Cast
minute,
on
hold on,
Shock
go back for a
using our
second.
Spirit.
What's up?
I saw the spirit. You look, it's right where I said. You see the meter right next to the mana?
Oh, above it. Okay, I see
Yeah,
it.
that's
now.
the
Okay.
spirit.
Oh,
That's right
To
where I said
decide
it
if we'd
should be.
rather have the extra defense or
Look,
Yeah, it does go away. Everything.
the extra offense of the Cast on Shock using our Spirit. In PoE 2, trigger gems use a
Very
system
subtle.
of filling up cast time on each trigger. Basically, if a skill has a short cast time, then we'll trigger it really often. If it's got a long cast time, like
So in the top left, that's cast on shock being ramped up. So it's at 30% right now.
this Comet here, it will take a lot longer to trigger. You can see up the top left that there's a counter that says how far it is until your next trigger.
Boom. I mean, it's 100%
Wait.
comment gets cast by itself.
Dude.
So whenever it shocks, it casts that ability.
Yeah, since you're using
So every 10
since
shots.
you're using
it
yeah, since you're using lightning to shock, every time you shock, it gets filled up. And then once you do it enough, it casts whatever skill you have linked to that spell.
That
That's
is
crazy.
amazing.
That was, dude. I love it when games allow you to just like super branch off and build some
You could
wild
do
things.
so
It
many.
allows for so much
There you are.
opportunity.
Using Cast on Shock, we'll automatically cast Comet whenever we're using our lightning skills. So we've found the generator. Time
Hey.
to power it up.
Generator. As long as they got Goatman, it'll be a good game.
As power is restored to the Mechanarium, all the
Oh,
constructs
red.
are coming back to life. We'll need to fight them on the way back to the charged Soul Core. One thing that PoE 1 players might have noticed is that this character has both ice and lightning spells. That's pretty inefficient, isn't it? It's a big no-no for most builds because any specialization into cold or lightning isn't going to affect the other element. And generic elemental damage increases are not going to be as powerful as focusing on a single element. Well, in PoE 2, we have another major new system to introduce to solve these kinds of problems, and it starts with weapon swap.
What?
Wait, that
Weapon
weapon swap will
swap.
actually be a thing? Like, I never really noticed it in PoE 1, because, like,
It's
Really
in
had no-
PoE 1, it's in
Never-
Diablo 2, it's
Yeah.
in
but what need would
on.
you really have to other than, like, some inventory space?
inventory or swapping between a very specific thing.
Yeah.
Which which you never really used it. D2 you could use it more because if you could have a staff in the other one, you could throw down like teleport or something like that. So that was nice to have.
That sounds nice. Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't had much use, right?
Hmm.
Now in PoE 1, weapon swap isn't really used much for its originally intended use case. We imagined that people were going to be swapping in and out between different weapons to deal with whatever situation they were in. People just don't do that at all, and a large reason for that is because it's really awkward to do. In PoE 2 we wanted to solve that. The staff Octavian is using here has an ice mod on it that makes it great for when he's using his ice spells. We would also like to be able to make sure that the build works just as well for his lightning spells. If Octavian equips his previous staff in his second weapon set, you can see that it appears on the character's back. Now we're going to open up the skills screen. If Octavian opens up the skill options for his lightning skills, you can see here that you can choose which weapon sets are usable with each skill. First, we uncheck set 1 from being used by his lightning skills. Then we go through the cold skills and turn those off with his lightning weapon.
Wow.
Damn.
Now, when we use Spark, the character will automatically switch to the lightning staff on his back, and then use the skill. When Octavian uses Ice Nova, his character automatically switches over to his ice staff before using it.
What?
Figure each skill for which set to use, or both if you don't mind which. There's a very short time penalty to switching, so it can be good to leave some skills on both sets if it doesn't matter which weapon set you're using.
So basically, what they're saying is that he has a staff of cold and a staff of lightning. So he has said it that anytime he casts a lightning spell, it switches to his lightning staff before casting. And
So
anytime
you
he uses
could-
a cold spell, he switches to his cold staff before casting a cold spell.
So
But
it
they-
lets you. So it's still using the general upgrade to the element, like focusing on one element, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're able to do that with two elements just because you're able to have two different staffs, which allows you to
Yeah.
branch off.
It's focusing on the weapon power for each one, so you don't have to make a choice between either one and what build
Yeah.
you want to go to.
That's so good. It's
You
so
don't
like you
have
said-
to do one specific
I-
build. You can do both.
There is
they're
kind of a cooldown between the two, so you probably want to go crazy on it. But I would think bigger spells, and you probably want all as max damage as you can.
Yeah.
Whereas the lower ones, you're probably gonna not matter which one you use.
right. It's so cool. They're just giving out more and more and more things that I'm just loving. Just because like it just
Yeah.
allows the player to play and not feel restricted. Like at no point does this look restricting at any way.
Also, look at the environment.
It's huge.
It's very open. I can
It
actually
allows
see
you
through
to
stuff.
move and it
But-
doesn't feel so claustrophobic.
Hang on, but look at how it looks.
I can
Whereas
kinda
when
see
you
through the
when you look
background.
at this goes for Diablo 3 as well. When we go down into dungeons, it's pretty
dark.
straightforward. It's just like caves all the time.
Yes. Copy and paste.
Exactly.
Path has that problem too.
Path of
Is
one.
this we're like literally going through what seems like a temple of some kind, or so on and so forth. So yes, it still has
Yeah,
a
'cause we're
dungeon
in the jungle.
aspect,
Yeah.
but it's not cold, dank, and gloomy all the time.
Yeah. It
There's
just
something
feels
great.
dusty. Dusty and hot.
Cold.
But
there's
we
no
still have the problem
grass
of
anywhere or
passives.
anything, no
Wouldn't
green.
it be nice if we could specialize in both?
Look at the two characters here. They're both on screen, and
You're barely, if you're not paying attention, you won't
And-
see the other.
But what I'm saying is that the monk could be further up, and you still be able to see them fighting while you're fighting something down here, and then somebody else could be fighting in the top left up there, and you still be able to see both your friends doing something.
It's not like you guys are close either. I mean, you're
Whereas in-
close, but like you're gonna have
Well, yeah, exactly. Whereas in other RPGs, period, it seems like you can't see nothing, which doesn't
Mhm.
make it. When you try playing as a group, it doesn't feel like you're playing with anybody, because most of the time you can only see so much on your screen.
Both cold and lightning passives on the character? Well, in PoE 2, you can. We're on the passive skill screen here,
I know you guys missed that, so we're going back up. Like this.
but we still have the problem of passives. Wouldn't it be nice if we could specialize in both cold and lightning passives on the character? Well,
Wouldn't it be nice if we could specialize in both? Wait.
in PoE 2, you can. We're on the passive skill screen here, and you can see that we're close to both a cold and a lightning cluster. At the top right of the screen, you can see where we have some weapon set specific points to allocate. If Octavian holds shift, he can allocate set 1 to the cold passives, and then allocate set 2 to the lightning passives. Now check this out. As we weapon swap, our passive tree changes from one build to the other automatically. Whenever we cast the appropriate spell, the
It does a
character's
little
passives
animation.
reconfigure on the
It's so
fly
cool.
to the correct build for that spell. And you
That's
can't do this
so-
with every passive on your tree. Only points granted from skill books will allow this kind of dual specialization. So you can't change from a mace-slamming warrior into a fire elementalist with the press of a button, but it certainly increases the number of options you have for builds.
So it's not wild with it. Like you can't do everything because it makes
It's a
sense.
wide variety.
You're not gonna be able to do everything, but you can get close.
Yeah, so it's like a miniature specialization in a way.
Yeah, so good.
Which I mean, it makes sense because that's very. I mean, they're both elementals. You're kind of doing something very similar. Whereas I would expect that maybe there'd be like different sword/axe things would be melee stuff, so on and so forth, because they're very similar in that way. So that's pretty big.
I like that a lot.
Nice.
I don't
There's a
fully
huge number of
understand
places
it,
where the
but
system can shine.
It's really cool.
So that's on the passive skill tree. So it's basically just specializing in one for each.
Yeah, I don't really understand the weapon like input. So like this build, like build 1 had
Mhm.
so many skill points, and build 2 had the same amount of skill points. So
Mhm.
you have a certain amount of skill points, and they go into each build, so you can have 2 separate ones at the same time.
Yes.
Okay, it's simply that thought. Amen.
Yeah, so basically you have skill tree A that you did this way, and you have skill tree B that you did this way, and then you tied them to the weapon.
So if you get
When
rid of
I
that
have-
weapon, then if you get another one, you can just do it again.
Yes.
That's cool. That's cool. I like that.
Shine. You could augment your Dagger Shadow build with traps, or have a great curse setup on your Witch in one spec, and then move to your Chaos debuff spells with the other. It really opens up your options.
I need more time.
I want to see a chain lightning with like 60
Another fun
guys on
metagen
there,
to try
so
out
it like
Yeah,
is
it's-
barrier
fix my
invocation.
computer.
This works a little bit like the trigger gem I talked about
But it
before,
looks cool.
but this one charges up as your energy shield is hit by monsters. I think we might like to put an Ice Nova in this one. The more energy shield you lose, the more charge builds up until the point where you're able to cast the skill you socketed instantly.
A skill inside of a skill. That's amazing.
Lose some energy shield, and then at just the right time invoke Ice Nova to cast all the stacked up versions in one cast. If you keep losing shield, you'll build up even more charge for even more casts, so it's a
So
great
much
defensive option
heal.
in an emergency.
Holy crap!
Yeah, so it's almost like you're saving up, and then once it hits a certain point, it's free to cast because you've saved up so much.
Yeah, but I've never seen that much shield before, like in Act 3, or even the whole game.
Oh, really?
In PL1, yeah.
I don't
I
know
don't know what you were doing then.
I was never close to that much.
Pretty straightforward here.
Here we are back at the charged Soul Core. All we have to do now is take it. How hard could
How hard could that be?
How hard could that be? But look at this minor detail on the center here
Yeah, I know.
that you can specifically see pretty well. All of the ruins, the red right there being pretty seen. It's a small aesthetic, but it means so much.
It
Could that
looks
be?
so cool.
You can see just the
So
whole room.
cool.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Now we just have to remove it from that construct. I'll,
Look at this
We have to remove from that construct. Dawn.
God. Me and that mouse? Like what? But okay, look on this screen. You have your character, your friend's character, and the boss all on the same screen, easily seen.
The
And you
pillars
can
went
still
away.
see so much of the
That's you.
arena.
Like,
almost
the arena
clear.
should be flattened out.
Whoa.
That is a lot of lightning. Do what?
That's-
The arena flattened out. All the pillars went down into the ground.
Yeah.
Like, That's amazing. You don't have to go
Small
around
environmental
obstacles.
change.
You're literally just fighting the boss itself.
But yeah, in this
bro,
area,
they
there might
they
be
do
others
great.
that you might have to use those. It might be part of the boss fight.
But I'm still
Mhm.
even during the boss fight, it could just lift up the pillars and stuff. But still, that's pretty cool though.
Or the boss just breaks them, or you roll through it and break it.
Get back!
Wait, they have knockback
This is-
now?
A little. Yeah.
Like
It
the
seems like
bosses.
they
Okay,
said they.
That's amazing.
okay. When I was talking about the co-op like this, look, your friend is over on one side, able to cast at a distance,
And you're able to see them.
and you're able
Yeah.
to see them. This is so huge. Like I can't stress this enough. When there's so many times I've been playing Diablo or these other ones where since this camera zooms so in, it's hard to get a feel of your friends playing along with you. Whereas with this, we have a boss fight. I can see them. They're attacking. They're like zapping the crap out of them. I'm to say I'm the monk, and I'm beating the crap out of in front, like head front. I can see that we're in tandem, working together. We're doing something together.
You see it, you know it, and you feel it. Like you actually are like there together trying to get them. It's not like you're just on your own, hoping they're attacking. Yeah, right there. If he had zero resistance, then that's immediate damage.
Whoa.
Oh,
We're now in a bullet hell section.
that's cool.
How many bullet hells do you really see in like PoE 1?
Yeah, a few. Glad we have a roll.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot more bullet hells. Cheater, he knows what to do.
That's a nice lightning.
Yeah, but the lightning hit the wall. It really scraped itself out from the wall. Instead of just going through.
Your fate is sealed. Stay still.
Ooh.
Ooh,
He's making it
They
tough.
just
Oh!
Jesus!
it just keeps coming.
Did you see his health?
He took one shot.
Oh my god! Wow, nearly one shot.
So that's Path of Exile 2. Your next
That's
question is
so
likely to
cool.
be, when is the beta?
Yeah, when is
When's
the
the beta?
beta?
When's the beta? When's the beta? When's the beta?
June 7th of 24.
Oh, it hurts.
So we missed it?
No, it's 2024.
Ugh,
Dang.
Because they have
that's
quite a big
really
story
hyped
going.
up. That's so good. Like for what they're adding more as well and fixing things. It won't be good until 24th for beta, June 24th.
A closed beta, yes.
They're working so hard on this then. Like they have already announced it and everything like that, but they're not giving you a release date. They're giving you a beta release. Just to make sure it
makes
works
sense.
well. So good.
Well, between that and there's probably a lot of things they're still working on.
Probably balance issues. I bet you some balance issues.
My thing over most of this was just all the added stuff in there.
Or the fixed stuff.
Also,
There's
the
so
fact
much.
that this is at one time it was considered that this would replace Path of Exile 1, like Overwatch did. That is not the case anymore. They will be 2 separate games.
So good. Yes. Good. Good. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Why
There
does it have
is-
to replace it? It doesn't have to.
Does
They can be
not.
2 separate, and that's okay.
There will be some purchases that cross over from Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2. I didn't hear what they were, but that means that if you buy it on 1, there's some that will cross over between both of them. But
pretty
Okay,
not
so
every-
it's account. So it's connected to your account.
That's pretty good. I
There you
like
go.
That's
that.
good. So if you pay for something with money, you get to use it no matter what you play. Good. It makes it feel like
Of
you actually
course
bought
it's-
something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some specific things for each game depending on what. I'm like I understand, but the fact that there's gonna be some things that cross over between the two, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Didn't really see too much of it. Pretty much went over all of that, but like 6 new classes as well.
Oh my god.
Why is
Huh.
it that like the Diablo franchise, for some reason, we have the same 5 classes, and yet there's still others that came in previous games they couldn't even add. Yet this is going to drop with 12.
12, man.